Good morning, everybody, and happy holidays. As you can see, we got the tree up, which is a wonderful thing to get done. I just love the beauty and the magic of the holidays. It's a lot of fun, and the closer I get to my family, the more cool the holidays get. You know, if you grew up with a family that had any sort of mental health or any sort of challenges, mental health or narcissism, otherwise, why would you be watching this? Then holidays have been very, very, very tough, getting families together. But I can tell you, when you do your own work, and if the other people in your family have evolved a little bit, things can turn out because mental health really is mental health. And there are strategies to work with it to start making your holidays even better. And now I look forward to mine. Now I look forward to creating these memories with my family that we couldn't have before. So, if you don't know who I am and you don't know why you should care, I'm Rita Hickman. I'm a body mind expert. And what I do is I help women who are narcissistic and toxic relationships. One of the ways that I do it is a wonderful women's group where we do strategy meetings and where we do weekly calls and where we do these live streams every morning and where you get support in between. And it keeps you on a really great path surrounded by women who are moving in the same sort of spiritual evolution direction around narcissists, around evolving from a narcissist. So, one of the questions that comes across my feed every so often is how do you know when you're breaking the trauma bond with a narcissist? So, what's a trauma bond? A trauma bond is where two or more people go through a traumatic experience together. And because they have to, let's say my sister and I, we have more than a trauma bond. But at the very beginning, it was a trauma bond because her and I were like survivors on a shipwreck. Now, the thing with narcissists is that they're Jekyll and Hyde. They have good days and they have bad days. If they were always a jerk, then it would be easy to figure out. But they're not. And so many times when a narcissist takes someone through a trauma, and usually these traumas are created by them in the first place because of the fact maybe they have ADD and they've got that novelty gene and they need, mystery and new things and constant stimulation and constant excitement. And that can cause them to create a lot of drama and trauma in their life and in other people's lives. It's just sort of the way that it is. And so when you have a narcissist in your life, then you probably have a lot of trauma. And you also then have trauma bonding. So trauma bonding, what that feels like is this deep fight or flight, survival, strong, overwhelmingly physically powerful attachment or connection to a narcissist or to someone that you've had trauma with. And it could be many times the trauma bond is with the perpetrator because there's such a confusing relationship. They love you, they hate you, they love you because they hate you, they hate you because they love you. It's a whole crazy making sort of land. And so many times, if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, you also have trauma bonding, which means that you have a strong physical, emotional attachment to them, which feels almost like death when you think of them leaving or when you think of them moving on. Now, the cool thing is you have the ability to evolve. You have the ability to break those trauma bonds. You have the ability to become the person that you're supposed to be. This is a path. It's a narrow path. It's not a path for everybody, but it's a path of becoming who you're meant to be. And a narcissist is in your life to help encourage you to be that. And one of the ways they do that is by making things so difficult, so uncomfortable, so awful that you're forced to, in many ways, take very positive evolutionary steps, whether you want to or not. Just because either you have no choice, because the rug was pulled out from underneath you, or because emotionally you just can't take anymore. So how do you know when the bond is starting to break? Well, when you've started to make good choices, let's say you're getting your physical health taken care of. For example, I see a chiropractor, I see an energy worker, I work with a psychologist, I have my own coaches, I have my own support team. And so I'm working on the physical, the mental, and the emotional and the spiritual aspects of me, all those different parts and pieces. And when those parts and pieces start to grow, what you find is that you become a bigger version of yourself, a version of yourself that has boundaries and cares about yourself, a version of yourself that's willing to respect you and love you and stand up for you, a version of yourself that learns what you really need and creates a deep connection with you, who you are, who you're supposed to be, how you fit into this big giant universe of living. So you'll notice as the trauma bond starts to fall away, whether you stay in the relationship or not, it really doesn't matter. Breaking the bond is about you. So you'll start to feel more centered. You'll start to have more tools. You'll start to have more friends. You'll start to have fewer cravings or drives. You'll notice that you're getting your needs met in a variety of ways, and you end up not needing anybody as much as you thought you did. You find that you're able to stand on your own feet. You find that you have a sense of peace. Let's say heart palpitations may go away, pain may go away, stomach issues will start to go away, arthritis will start to go away, headaches and dizziness, all of these physical symptoms will start to fade. You'll start to get a handle on them. You'll start to manage your stress and how you're living with life because instead of putting it on the narcissist and making it all their fault, you've decided, wow, this person's pretty messed up. The only thing I can do is to work on me. The only thing I can do is to become the sort of person that isn't victimized, to become the sort of person that isn't bullied, to become the sort of person that respects and loves themselves. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you become a doormat or that you are a doormat. Being a light of the world doesn't mean you allow people to victimize you. In fact, what it does is that enables them. It means that after you or in other relationships, they will not have the skills. Let's say you get rid of them and you move on and you don't care anymore, and that's fine. But at some point in time, you did love them. At some point in time, you cared about them. And you really don't want them to suffer because we don't want people suffering in the world because it makes the world a more miserable place. And if they don't have the skills, if they don't have the tools, if they don't have any sort of understanding that of the chaos and the craziness that they create, that's not love. Love is when you care enough about somebody to care about yourself. You care enough about somebody to stand up for yourself and be clear about what you need and how you work. And when you start noticing those things, when you start that you have the ability to love yourself deeper, you have the ability to love other people deeper, even the narcissist, that's the sign that the trauma bond is starting to fade. Because it's no longer about how we're being victimized or how we're helpless. Now it's about how we're empowered, how we feel safe, how we create environments where we can feel safe, how we take an active participation in our life, in our personal life, where we stand up for ourselves and we break those patterns and memories of maybe when we had a narcissist as a parent or a sibling or a family member or someone close to us. We start to get a handle on that and we stop becoming the 4-year-old or the 6-year-old or the 8-year-old or the 12-year-old or the 20-year-old. And you start becoming the person that you're supposed to be, which is someone who is confident, centered, strong, creative, smart, funny, interesting. That's you. That's you when the trauma bond starts to break. That's who you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be someone who is carrying the burden of 10 tons. You're supposed to be someone who is light enough to love genuinely, to love sincerely and compassionately, and to love yourself as well. So when you start to notice those signs, you know the trauma bond is breaking. Yay! And your life is moving on track. Now, if you're ready for that, then join the group. How do you join the group? You let me know. How do you let me know? Send me a message or a text or an email or a thing on Messenger. Send me something. And I'll get you the link so that you can join this amazing group of women. And it's so fun hearing the stories and watching everyone evolve, because step by step, we take our power back. Step by step, you find your way. You get the things you always needed to get that you just couldn't find the right people to give them to you. You finally start to move forward and to enjoy your life instead of feel like you just want to run away at any second. Okay? So if you need help, reach out. We do strategy calls, we do the group, we've got the live streams, I've got a whole archive of videos, all sorts of stuff we can help you with. If you know somebody who's in a narcissistic relationship, pass this on, because they can get help. They don't have to live like this. And the biggest struggle of getting out of a toxic situation like that is thinking differently. And you think differently by being exposed to different thoughts. And you're exposed to different thoughts when you watch and you read different things. So pass this video on, get people thinking differently, create that spark, and realize that you don't have to be stuck anymore. Honest. You really don't, no matter what it looks like. Okay? So I hope you have a great day. I hope you enjoy the holidays that are coming up. And if not, know that you are loved, and in a way bigger way than you ever imagined. And start focusing on that, and it'll turn out okay. So I'll see you tomorrow. I hope you have a great day, and